First and foremost, before we get into the Tucker Carlson stuff, I just wanted to, shout out Jerry Springer, Habananama, 79 years old, pancreatic cancer or something like that, going like that. That's a tough way to go out. And as a child of the 90s, right? I was born 1990. He was one of those quintessential figures of society at large during that decade. Him, Howard Stern, back when, Howard Stern was actually Howard Stern, and The Simpsons, Beavis and Butthead. Now, realistically, I only kind of watched and consumed The Simpsons, and it wasn't until much later I ended up catching up with Beavis and Butthead and only caught a few episodes of Jerry Springer. But he has foundational stuff, and it's always tough to hear somebody going out, and especially like that. So, condolences to his family, of course. So, while one goes away, another one comes back and has quite possibly one of the biggest return videos after being sacked for indeterminate reasons. It's very, very weird, very, very sketchy as to the circumstances, and maybe at some point in time Tucker will elucidate on them. And it wasn't long after I was done, recording and releasing all of my stuff that I did last night that this video dropped. And I'm sure it made a couple of allusions in there that Tucker hadn't, made his message known so far yet in the AOC response video that I did yesterday. But yeah, lo and behold, there it is. And I know you probably heard it, and you probably, have seen it gone through, but I haven't seen it in totality, and it's my goddamn show, and we're going to watch the clips that I want to watch. So without further ado, we're going to go through the 2 minutes of it, and then of course there's some other stuff afterwards that I think is going to be fairly important. So without, like I said, further ado.
Good evening, it's Tucker Carlson.
Hi.
One of the first things you realize when you step outside the noise for a few days is how many genuinely nice people there are.
Let's just go full screen. Fuck it.
Country. Kind and decent people who really care about what's true, and a bunch of hilarious people also. A lot of
very interesting, right? Because he said, okay, when you take a step out of the bubble, which if you've listened to the Nelk podcast that he's done, which is probably one of the best non-political interviews that he's done before, like, he tells his regimen. He wakes up in the morning, okay, does some show prep, hangs out with his wife, and then he goes into the studio, records all of this stuff, writes his monologue that he's going to be doing. And yeah, he's a fairly dedicated soldier when it comes to just simply doing his job. So yeah, it's definitely fair to say that he lived in a bubble, but to be fair, this was a couple of days afterwards. He had the opportunity to step out of that, and I'm sure maybe everything kind of shook down over the weekend where, okay, yeah, he had an opportunity to not be in that Fox News hive mind for a second, and went something else that, yeah, I've noticed as well, and you can corroborate, when you take a step out of the whole political arena, or even just media critique arena, whatever little, I hate the term echo chambers, but with the little groups that are out there, you take a step back, you start to realize that, wow, a lot of this stuff is just absolute nonsense that doesn't really cater to anybody except for the people spinning the message over and over and over again. There are some basal level issues that we can all get together on, and we can, fight in a united front, but for the most part, a lot of it's just kind of noise, and that's what he's noticing and really getting away from at least for the first couple of days. But okay, let's let him go. Let's let this man cook.
Those. It's got to be the majority of the population, even now. So that's heartening. The other thing you notice when you take a little time off is how unbelievably stupid most of the debates you see on television are.
I can double that for most of the debates on the internet. I've talked about this, multiple different times. Like, basically, my internet voyage kind of really used to watch, stupid gaming content way back in the day. But my shift towards this style of stuff was probably like the Sargon of Akkad stuff in 2015, 2016, and the ramp up to there where everybody kind of hopped on the political bandwagon. I've always had my inclinations from back in the cut, but yeah, listening to some of the debates from some of the people that are still hanging around in that sphere, boy, it's just a bunch of fart huffing morons. They just think that they're far more intellectual than they actually are. Continue to miss the point. They've just kind of crystallized on their position positions and haven't really evolved outside of that. That's kind of why I jettisoned away from that. Like, they diverged in different directions, and hey man, we all grow in different areas, but oh boy, some of those conversations, they were awfully fucking stupid. Okay, so that definitely doubles for old mass media, which, yeah, they still have their old ideological bents that, yes, continue to churn out all of the fear all the time, keep somebody back, never give them any solutions. We might give you solutions at 11. Oh no, wait, we'll give them to you at 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay, then at noon, and then at 6 o'clock in the evening, and then it's 11 o'clock at night, just to always keep you on that same cycle of coming back and coming back. Nothing ever gets resolved, because if things get solved, well, then the money train stops.
They're completely irrelevant. They mean nothing.
Yep.
In 5 years, we won't even remember that we had them. Trust me, as someone who's participated.
That's interesting, because he's also, so had this job, very successful job, very cushy job, but could have continued to done it forever. Who knows if I ever would have stepped back. It's tough to say. It's tough to say what a guy would do if this choice wasn't foisted upon him. But he's also noticing that, a lot of the shit that I was told to do isn't really congruent with what I think is relevant to the larger societal issues. So, interesting. It's just a disconnect between what he was told to push as opposed to what he wants to push.
And yet at the same time, and this is the amazing thing, the undeniably big topics, the ones that will define our future, get virtually no discussion at all.
Yeah, of course not, because, if you actually start to focus on the issues that matter, well, we've seen what happens when guys who have his level of influence on the population, well, he starts to get to a certain level. He starts talking about things that are outside, stay in your lane, but he still keeps that same energy by moving to a different topic. No, you get back here. You just talk about the stuff that's down here. Stop talking about the shit that's up here. You're good right here. You're great right there. Just continue to bat around those talking points. But you start to get too influential. Trump, Tate, a couple of other people as well, and then all of a sudden, you just need to go because you're too much of a nuisance to have out there.
Or civil liberties, emerging science, demographic change, corporate power, natural resources.
And to be completely fair, that's what Tucker was. Well, he would side with the Fox News audience, the general population that would consume Fox News talking points. He would side with them when it made ideological sense, or rather, when it made rational sense, because I don't really think Tucker's an ideologue. He might be a little bit goofy on a couple of different points, but for the most part, especially when it comes to people who were in corporate media, he was definitely the best. I don't think that there's anybody close at all whatsoever. But then at the same time, there were a couple of other issues, which we've highlighted before, where, he would buck the trend against the rest of the Fox News ecosystem. And, man, he had way too much power, way too much influence. He was the big fish in the medium-sized pond.
When was the last time you heard a legitimate debate about any of those issues? It's been a long time. Debates like that are not permitted in American media. Both political parties and their donors have reached consensus on what benefits them, and they actively collude to shut down any conversation about it.
Yeah, again, you can talk about the underlying issues. It's kind of like with a gunshot. Oh, okay, cool. You can clean up the blood that's around it and then just put a Band-Aid on it, and that'll be fine. But no, don't discuss any of the sutures that you need. Just, you can help, but outside of that, don't get to the root of any problems, because we've got other people that'll deal with that.
Suddenly, the United States looks very much like a one-party state.
Yeah.
That's a depressing realization.
Yeah, because he would also call out the monoparty that happens in Congress, which, everybody from the outside looking in can definitely see that. Tucker was just calling that out while everybody else was like, no, shut up, we're the pro-Republican side. Well, not like the actual Republican side, just the corporatist side, the rhino side of it, okay? Listen, we make a lot of money, so just shut the fuck up. Oh, great, now you're starting to cause way too many waves. We've got to get rid of this guy.
Our current orthodoxies won't last. They're brain dead. Nobody actually believes them. Hardly anyone's life is improved by them. This moment is too inherently ridiculous to continue, and so it won't. The people in charge know this. That's why they're hysterical and aggressive. They're afraid. They've given up persuasion. They're resorting to force. But it won't work.
Yeah.
When honest people say what's true, calmly and without embarrassment, they become powerful.
Yeah, and that's the difference that he has with a bunch of other people with their flashy graphics and, their fast transitions and the big talking points, and here's why you need to tune in for the rest of the hour. No, Tucker didn't do that. That was his monologue. The way that he's delivering it right now is the way that he delivers the rest of his stories as well. And like the people that I was talking about before, like your Trumps and your Tates that got deplatformed, sure, they were a little bit more bombastic, but they would still hit on the central points, which is a big no-no. Oh, of course not. What, you're getting to solutions? Fuck off, you get out of here.
At the same time, the liars who've been trying to silence them shrink and they become weaker. That's the
Yeah, and that's another thing. A lot of people, well, you take a look during the pandemic, how many people got quote-unquote red-pilled, for the lack of a better term, on certain big societal issues, okay? The people that fled their states, that, traditional default Democrats, if you will, and then started to see the control of the government start to creep into their everyday life, and they, hey, wait a minute, I kind of like that whole freedom thing that I thought I had before, but no, there's tyrants over top of me. Well, fuck all of this. At some point in time, people just get hit with issues that affect them directly. It might be a totally different set of values or a totally different set of ideas that hit me different, that hit you differently. That's why I personally like to cover a whole breadth of topics across my channel, because who knows what's going to reach somebody. Is it a sports issue? Is it a political issue? Is it a health issue? Okay. Different things appeal to different groups of people. But as soon as you start to figure out that I've been told something about something that I care about, and that is not actually true. Oh, this is the truth now. Oh, and everything that I knew about this was all a big lie, like the food pyramid. You guys know about the scam of the food pyramid. It was put on by the not the Grain Association, the United States Farmers Association, in order to just sell more carbohydrate-based food. It wasn't for health or anything like that. Get your 10 to 12 servings of grain every day, because the United States was one of the biggest exporters of grain and barley products in the world. So yeah, you just have to continue that churn, when in actuality, if you take a look at the old school food pyramid, if you'd flip it on its head, well, you would be much healthier and better off. Just take a look at old school diets that are out there. They look exactly like that, and they're far better for you. Fewer people back in the cut were dying of more traditional diseases that you're seeing are claiming far more lives in today's day and age.
The iron law of the universe. True things prevail. Where can you still find Americans saying true things? There aren't many places left, but there are some. That's enough. As long as you can hear the words, there is hope.
Nice.
See you soon.
Oh, see you soon. That's very powerful, because, okay, so he's obviously incommunicado with somebody that's out there. Don't know who for sure, because I was listening to Crowder this morning, and he said that, or who was I listening to? No, maybe it was PBD. Maybe it was PBD who was talking about, okay, he's a buddy, he's having conversations behind the scenes, okay? There's things that are going to be going on. He's in discussions with people, buddy. Like, come on. And yeah, okay, wherever Tucker wants to go, he's going to have a home. Literally, anybody would be stupid not to scoop this guy up right now. Like, just take a look at all the metrics. 19.2 million people watch that video. That's like music video numbers from like Future or Cardi B. Like, somebody big would drop a video like that. Those are the numbers that those are getting. Like, even the shit on the trending page on YouTube ain't hitting that high. And 64.2 million views, impressions in general, that is a ginormous amount. That is huge. That is absolutely huge. And you compare and contrast that with Fox News trying to fill in for his self-inflicted absence, and it's just atrocious. Fox News ratings take a hit after Tucker Carlson's exit. How bad is it? After Tucker Carlson's sudden exit from Fox News, the network suffered a loss in ratings on Monday night. I don't know if we have the Tuesday or the Wednesday night numbers yet, but it's not very good. The network network's 8 p.m. hour, which you used to hold, had a noticeably smaller audience on Monday night, according to The Hollywood Reporter. The debut, the replacement program, Fox News Tonight, that was hosted by Brian Kilmeade, pulled in 2.6 million viewers, or about 20% below the average for Tucker Carlson Tonight over the past 2 months or so. 20% lower. That's pretty significant. That's after everything sank in now. Where'd Tucker go? And then they start to realize, that's not Tucker. Fuck this thing. I ain't watching this. Kilmeade is the first of what Fox News said is many rotating hosts who will be featured in the program until a replacement is named. Now listen, I don't have any animosity towards Brian Kilmeade. Fuck, I don't even know who the dude is. But if you're taking that position, you think you're going to have any goodwill that's going to be out there outside of just your transient audience, your passerbys that just happen to have the television on at the time? You're coming in from a deficit, man. That's there's a reason that Fox is going to be putting in the rotating host, because nobody's going to want to take this heat off rip. Kilmeade, already said that. Normally, Kilmeade hosts Fox News' morning program. As you probably heard, Fox News and Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways. That's one way to put it. They fired him because he got too influential. And oh my God, there's the lawsuit, but I've got other justifications and reasonings behind that. So I wish Tucker all the best. I'm great friends with Tucker and always will be. So please don't tune out to my show. Please give me a chance. Please, I beg you. But right now, it's time for Fox News Tonight. So let's get started. Hey, at least he addressed it, man. But, this is something else. Like, I seen a graphic on Twitter earlier today, and I just find this incredibly hilarious. So, yeah, even the Fox News Tonight is down to 2.6 million viewers, which is kind of ass, if we're going to be completely honest. Like, that's the peak, okay? That's the most at any given time. I forget how long it is with Nielsen ratings. However long it is consistently, that's how many people were watching at its peak. Not saying maybe that's at the beginning, maybe that's at a certain bottom of the hour at a certain point in time, but consistently watching, it wasn't 2.6 million. It fluctuates a little bit, but that's the peak. If Tucker is to go off to, because I would pretty much bet, and I'm pretty sure if you take a look at any of the betting markets that's out there, he'll probably land on Rumble. Like, you could see in the background of the video that was right there, it's like he's got his own studio, okay? It won't take him very long to be up and running like that. And yeah, there is no consortium, okay? Like Daily Wire, for as much money as they have, it's like they could sign him, but he would be leaving considerable amounts of money on the table, and Rumble can get him started just like that. And hey, Rumble doesn't necessarily need him to be successful. Like, Rumble's doing fine cultivating its own little group of characters. So yeah, no, they'll be fine, but he would definitely be best suited to be over there because, hey man, he's got a style. He's incredibly successful at it, and it just seems like a natural move over there. He said, we'll see you soon, and hey, man, hopefully he backs that up. But I said before, there's a good chance that he could be the biggest streamer that's out there if he just does his monologue, does an interview show, somewhere between the Crowder, Joe Rogan area, where it's just longer form interviews with interesting guests where you don't have to worry about hitting that third rail when it comes to touchy subjects because that might piss off the sponsors at Pfizer or, I don't know, reverse mortgages, just get too spicy and singe that mustache hairs off Tom Selleck and his reverse mortgages. Like, you can just go wild, theoretically, and close enough. And yeah, he's got all of the structures in place to just immediately be up and running. So we'll see, as long as he doesn't have a non-compete clause that's in there that he signed and is on the way out. So yeah, we'll see, obviously. But in the wake, so yes, Fox News has 2.6 million viewers in that time slot. MSNBC saw 1.51 million viewers during the same time slot, while CNN saw 728,000 viewers. Yo, LCNN. Like, there was a list of the nightly shows. It might have been for Monday night, or might not have been, who knows, but yeah, CNN could, I think, like, one show maybe cracked. I might be able to pull it up here. Well, wait a second. Yeah, here it is. Like, I'm not entirely sure. This might have been last night, because that would make sense. Okay, so 1.7 million viewers for the 8 p.m. time slot. Anderson Cooper was on at the same time. 678,000. Like, yo, okay, nobody even got close. And yeah, Anderson Cooper was the highest at 6.78 or 678,000 people. Like, MSNBC obviously is on the other side, and Chris Hayes he can't even crest a 1.5, but you got primetime on Fox, Brett Baer with 2 million, Sean Hannity, yuck, at 9 o'clock with the lead in from Fox Tonight. Like, that used to be its highest number, and it's fallen off a cliff even since, I wonder how they're going to address it on Monday. That must have been Tuesday. But big L for CNN, not even able to break a million. Like, at least people cared about the stupid shit that Don Lemon was talking about, but now they got nothing. Holy fuck. Like, they should just roll it up. Christ almighty. I'm sure that office space is pretty expensive. Anyways, but yeah, for years, Carlson's show has dominated cable news, and in recent months was bested only by another Fox News program, The Five, which recently saw an uptick in viewership. Yeah, and that's in the morning, so it's unfair, and it's also a panel show, so that's almost, like, I understand it's on the same network, but that's comparing apples to oranges, really, in the grand scheme of things. But it's also another reason, okay, where you could have, yes, competing opinions, which is something that, yeah, Tucker had, right? The 5 issues where he went back and forth with, Fox News, attacked both the right and the left. He was a big critic about the globalist involvement in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and need not to go over all that stuff as well. Same with the Iraq war. He touched on that in the Full Send podcast as well. He's like, yeah, I supported it, and then I got to see it, and it's like, oh man, I feel stupid about, supporting that stuff. Big tech, yeah, railed against big tech. He accused the Democrats of colluding with big tech to do things about the 2020 presidential election. Immigration, Carlson attacked Democrats and Republicans over the possible immigration bill that reportedly would give amnesty to millions of illegal aliens. Yeah, no, of course, like, he went hard on a whole bunch of things, and then, yeah, what is also highly speculated on was the whole J6 situation. He got all the tapes. That ended up rattling some cages in Congress, and then, hey man, not that long afterwards, well, he was exited. But no, you know what else? He's being sued by his former talent booker. Oh, he said a bunch of crazy things, and well, we got some information on this bitch as well, who just kind of looks like a sad drag queen. Like, I have no idea who this chick is, and apparently neither does Tucker, because, yo, check this. Ex-Tucker Carlson producer suing Tucker Carlson has never met Tucker Carlson. He's being sued by somebody that was employed by Fox that never even met him, who was responsible for sending out DMs and making phone calls to see if people wanted to be on Tucker Carlson tonight. And she's mad because he was stringent with his show and he had a high work ethic. Like, I've seen a little bit. We might have to touch on this with one of the streams coming up. There's a clip making the rounds right now, very, very recently. I just didn't have time to address it really on any of the videos that are coming out today because we got more Bud Light nonsense coming up here in the third video. But even still, Dave Landau's making some comments about Steven Crowder. And yeah, some of them sound inflammatory, but some of it's also twisting some language as well that it's kind of interesting. It's a 6-minute long clip with, he's on a podcast with somebody I'm not exactly the biggest fan of either. I just think that he is kind of like some of the other chicks that are out there, just kind of in there in order to cause chaos and end up raining over the ashes. But, well, we'll see. We might take a look at that maybe on Saturday just as a little bumper, because it could be interesting as well. But I just want to get just a little bit of this because this is so fucking hilarious. Okay, imagine upsetting somebody that you've never met so bad that they end up suing you. Absolutely wild. Lawyers for Abby Grossberg. I'm not shocked. Confirmed to The Spectator that the former Fox News producer never actually met Tucker Carlson in person while working for his show. Literally, I was being cyberbullied to the point where I had to sue the man. Oh, just stop it. Like many of Tucker Carlson Tonight's staff, Abby never met Tucker Carlson in person. He taped shows from his personal studios in Maine and Florida, and he did not visit Fox New York headquarters during her time there. Oh, okay, cool. So you're just, once again, trying to run somebody's pockets at an opportune time. Yeah, makes sense. And the statement confirms a recent report that former Fox News employee and complicates the story about Carlson, Grossberg, and the workplace environment on the show he hosted, as well as lawsuits alleged connection to Carlson's firing on Monday. Grossberg, who was the head of booking for the show from July 2022 until he was placed on administrative leave in March. Oh, until she was placed on administrative leave, because it's like, no, I thought Tucker was doing his show. Anyways, in March of this year, alleges that Carlson encouraged a hostile and sexist workplace environment in his home, in either of his studios. Okay, cool. I guess you're an ally for ghosts. I don't know. Grossberg, oy vey, said that she was subjected to bullying and anti-Semitic comments. Like, yeah, if you fuck up this booking one more time, it's to the chambers for you. Oy vey. She couldn't handle the gas, kids. And sexism. Of course, yes, it's always that trifecta, right? The only thing, well, no, you got anti-Semitism in there. So I said, I was thinking, hey, missing the race component, but there it is, by staff while working at Fox's Manhattan office that Tucker was never at. So why not just sue Fox? They seem pretty, fine with just cutting checks to make lawsuits disappear. Why go after Tucker? He's just going to lampoon your dumbass. Tucker and his executive producer, Justin Wells, who was also fired, really were responsible for breaking me and making my life a living hell, Grossberg said in an MSNBC interview with Nicole Wallace yesterday. Interesting. You worked there for how long? I made my life very difficult. Listen, I've had shitty jobs before, and you know what I did? I just left. Because, hey man, that's the business that you guys want to run. That's on you. As for me, well, I'm just going to go ahead and take my talents elsewhere because, hey man, I'm a grown fucking adult. I don't need to think that, oh, I was just mentally broken by somebody I never fucking met. Unbelievable. Grossberg's lawyer says that she was in contact with Carlson on a daily basis over text and email, and that the two also spoke on the phone until she left the network. That's fantastic. Okay. They suggested that since Carlson was not present in New York office, the sexist environment was perpetuated at his direction. Yes, hey, you go in there, you subjugate those bitches. You know what? I'm kind of a bigger fan of Tucker now, all of a sudden. Was perpetuated as direction by other employees who served as his eyes and ears. Yeah, that's right. Guess what? If those chicks aren't in there and they aren't bringing enough treats to the office, you need to show them who's boss. Since Tucker did not come to the office, he relied on Justin Wells, his executive producer, and others like Alexander McCaskill, senior producer, who were present in the office every day to be his eyes and ears and mouthpiece, and said to convey his tone as they threateningly reminded Ms. Grossberg, oh, just shut up, bitch. This is obviously an attempt to just run some pockets. She's out there on all of the different news stations, and yes, MSNBC, CNN, anybody who wants to talk about this story, who has nothing better on, are running it on loop constantly, and yeah, putting this bitch on there because, hey man, they wouldn't have the audacity to put Tucker on, hey, come on, speak your truth, king. They would never do that. They just make more money, grifting off of him. I'm waiting for his next move. I'm just hoping that he just goes live on his own channel on Rumble and breaks the internet. That would be fantastic for everybody. And yeah, no, I would definitely 100% support the move that he's making. That's for true. He's an honest man for as far as I can see. Never met him in person. Highly likely I never will, but I see an honest individual on one side of this argument and a dishonest one on the other, and then in general, you can kind of extrapolate that out to be the networks at large as well. So, hey man, I'm waiting like so many other people, like so many millions of other people with bated breath to see what Tucker does next. So whenever he does that, well, hey man, I'll be waiting, and I will probably be covering it. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.